It is time to review the roster update for Week 7, and holy smokes was it a banger. I had high expectations, and they were met. Sometimes I try to not get too, overly excited about what it could be, but when the numbers are there, the numbers are there. And I'm just going to put out that there's going to be a ton of golds and maybe a good handful of diamonds. And they delivered. Not only that, but the content that went along with the roster update is absolute heat. If you're watching this on YouTube on Friday and it is before 2 a.m. Central Time, come on out to the Twitch stream, twitch.tv/Spore. We review the content the second that it comes out. Well, actually, not the second it comes out, about 20 minutes after. I like to kind of take a look at the roster update by myself first, real quick, just so there's no spoilers. Then I come in, we hang out for a little bit, and then dive in like we're about to do right now. We go position by position. We talk about everybody. I did not put out a traditional video of saying these guys are the ones that are going to go up this week. And I even had kind of a smaller than normal list in my Discord. Had to take an emergency trip down to my mom. So I apologize for that. But if I can do a little back pat, I will say that those silver videos that I put out where I covered all silvers in the game and talked about their chances to go gold had a lot of information that paid off big, including some guys that were under the radar. It wasn't just the Reese Hoskins of the world that everyone knew, or the Lourdes Gurriel Juniors of the world that everyone knew. I mean, did you get in on Marco Gonzalez? I'm just saying. Anyway, let's dive in right now and talk about Jacob deGrom getting moved up. It's high time he gets moved up, too. I think he should be even higher, to be quite honest. I'm honestly really, really, really excited for awards. Jacob deGrom, whenever that comes out, I imagine it will be an awards card. He's won back-to-back Cy Youngs. That should be fun to use. I haven't really used live series. I've never really seen anybody use him. I get he's kind of like meh. There aren't really that many live series starters that are, if any, that are used with any regularity. Maybe Garrett Cole when he's on an extreme inside edge update, but that's about it. Darvish gets a big boost, and I was thinking that he could get a nice healthy boost, and it's about time they moved his BB9 up even more. Remember last week I think they moved it down 2, and I was like, was that a typo? Was that an accident? Like, what did he do to have that go down? He's not walked guys at an excellent, he's been, limiting walks at an excellent clip since second half of last year. So now we're almost, getting to a full season of just this brilliant walk rate from a guy who used to have extreme walk issues. He has a chance to go 90 by the end of the season. Now, we've seen that 90s market, that 90 plus diamond market is not as ripe as it was for the first two guys that did it, Betts and Judge. So I would be careful going in. Now, we don't have a great litmus test yet because when Bieber and Soto went, there was a big pack sale that totally undermined everything. That said, while we did lose out on those two, it did create an amazing buying opportunity for the silvers and bronzes of the world. So I'm actually very thankful for that. I will sacrifice the few stubs that I feel like we could have gained. Not few, but the gains that we could have gotten from the Sotos and Biebers for all the amazing gains that we got everywhere else. And Soto and Bieber could still be going back up. I'm going to make stubs off them. I bought them around 5,000. It's going to be fine. Trevor Bauer also gets a healthy gain, and like Darvish, these two went toe-to-toe. They had an amazing game the other night. He could also end the season at 90 plus. Aaron Nola just quietly plugging away, continues to be awesome. So there we go. Seth Lugo, we knew that this was a possibility. He deserved it. The move to SP alone, I think, would have gotten him there because, as you can see, he actually got an overall downgrade in his ratings. He got the +2 on the K9, but the -8 on the BB9, which, little bit of a surprise, I guess. Not the end of the world either way. It's not like you're using him as a starter in anything but maybe BR. I could see maybe throwing him out there, although if we're being honest, we probably like them better as an RP in BR, but who cares? We're talking about investing. We're talking about making crazy stubs on him, and this was a call out from my chat. So I cannot remember exactly who did it. It was a few weeks back now. They said, hey, you see Lugo's been starting. Is there a chance that he goes diamond? I said, I hadn't even thought about that. So great call out there. I want to give full credit. I wish I had the name, but I will say that this was not my original idea, but I jumped on board and I tried to bullhorn it out to y'all. So hopefully you guys got in. There was so much buying opportunity on this. I bought virtually all of mine at 1,800 or lower, some as low as 1,200, and now got them for 5,000 quick sell. Greinke gets a little bit of a downgrade, but it doesn't hurt him. Same goes for, well, actually it did hurt Lynn. He went down a point, but he gets kind of a neutral move here where the stamina and hit 9 go up, but then the K9 and BB9 go down. So it's like, whatever. Again, these guys aren't heavily used, so it's not the biggest deal in the world. Big time diamond watch right now for Dinelson Lamet. Again, I think I say it every week because he's on the upgrade sheet every damn week, making me look like a dipshit every 5th day. I was very much out on him coming into this year, and hilariously wrong. Blake Snell gets a little bit of a nooch move right here, neutral move. He loses some stamina, gains some BB9. We know where we're at right now, guys. One electric outing away from going diamond. If you have shares, just hold. I bet his price went down. There's even more opportunity to get in. He goes tonight, I believe, Friday night. And if he has a great outing, he won't go again before the next update. So there's a lot hinged on this outing tonight. You can keep an eye on it. And if it's dominant, then you'll probably see the price go up quite a bit during the outing. Another big diamond watch is Zach Gallen. He gets a 1-point jump here. He continues to dominate. I mean, he had a little bit of a struggle against the Giants, which isn't even that bad. I know it sounds like, the Giants. They've actually had a pretty good offense this year. They've made some structural changes to the ballpark that's made it play better, plus a bunch of guys kind of breaking through, like Brandon Belt, who we'll talk about in a moment. And so it's no shame. He had one bad inning against them, but he's been amazing this year, and he absolutely has an opportunity to get those final 2 points to get to diamond. Some were talking about a Buehler upgrade. I didn't really understand that. This reminds me of the Anthony Rizzo one that people were asking. Is Rizzo going to go to diamond? And he ends up going the other way. I didn't really understand where the Buehler thing was coming from, and now he's on the IL with a blister. I would divest any shares in Buehler, or if you have them, just hold them for the Team Affinity number 4 coming up. Max Fried goes down, but as you can see, with the control, velocity, and break jumps, that means his pitch repertoire got adjusted. And that's going to be a bit of a theme here that we're going to talk about, at least with another handful of guys that I saw. I don't know how many they went in on, but 2 very important ones that I know they went in on that we will talk about in a moment. But he goes down a little bit here, nothing too crazy. You could tell that his numbers were kind of on the cusp, because if he gets the +1 in stamina and hit 9 and then -3s in the K and BB, and that costs him a point. So he was kind of like right there. Not a big deal. The only bummer is that he's off diamond watch because he's on the IL, and I just don't know that there's going to be enough for him to really get there. He did get a Diamond Player of the Month, though, so if you really want to utilize a high-quality Fried, there's your opportunity. Dylan Bundy just keeps shoving, and I think it's been under the radar because the Angels suck. And so I think it's just been kind of hidden that he's out there continuing to not slow down whatsoever. Remember, he skipped silver. He went bronze to gold this year in an unprecedented move that I really respected and agreed with because of the way they were doing upgrades this year, moving very sharply. I thought it was very much justified, and he has totally backed them up on that. It would have been a bummer if he, completely flopped and made them look silly, but no, he's actually totally made it stand up. I don't know if Diamond is necessarily here, but I'm not going to rule it out. Because actually, as I'm looking at it now, 67 strikeouts in 58 innings. He's not walking too many. 40 hits. Actually, I'm going to say he is a sneak tip diamond potential. If he closes out, I think he has 3 more starts, and they're all 3 ranging from good to great. He just doesn't have any duds. I think he'll get there. So Bundy's a sneak tip diamond investment. A little bit of a neutral move here for Ryu. He loses some BB9, but gains in hits and Ks. Not as strong of a diamond potential as Bundy, but also on that kind of long shot cusp, but probably cheap enough to where you can invest for free. And what I mean by that is that if it's anywhere between like 1,000 and 1,100, maybe even up as high as 1,200, that's essentially free. The quick sell price, of course, is 1,000. So to be truly free, you'd have to be buying them at 1,000 and then quick selling them. But anywhere in that like extra 100 to 200 stub range is essentially free. It's a very low gamble at that point, especially because for the most part, these guys are often going for sell orders in the 1,500 range. So even if you didn't get them to diamond, you could sell back your 1,100 stub shares for 1,400 and end up making a few stubs. So for all intents and purposes, it's a free roll to take a shot on Bundy and Ryu if their prices are where I believe they are. I have not checked on them recently, but I think these 82 golds have generally been trending around the 1,000 to 1,200 range as far as putting in buy orders. Plesac gets another little bump. He's been quietly. He's kind of like Bundy, just quietly pushing along because his team has not been that great. Although Philly's been better than the Angels, but still, he's just kind of under the radar. Zach Plesac makes the big jump. Love to see it. Kind of a douche as a person, but a great pitcher. He's been killing it this year, and it's been awesome. And I don't think Diamond is there for him with only 3 starts left. I don't think there's going to be 5 points, but I do think another jump into like the 82, 83 range could be there, which could move his price up. That said, I quick sold all mine right away. I can reinvest if I want to. Same as I did with Zach Gallen. I quick sold after he hit it, and then I'm reinvesting now as Diamond becomes an opportunity. This one was probably my biggest lock as far as starting pitchers go to gold. I didn't see any way that Gossman didn't go to gold this week, and he absolutely gets there with a really healthy jump across the board. His main per nines, which are hit, K, and BB, because those are the ones that play in the game, all get +2, and the homer 9 gets a 17-point boost as well. All right, we had a little internet hiccup there, but we are back, and we're talking about Zach Davies, and I was saying that he is basically the right-handed version of Marco Gonzalez, in that he limits walks, he limits hits, his strikeout rate isn't that great. A little bit of difference between the two. His strikeout rate's actually a little bit better, but his walk rate isn't quite as insane as Gonzalez's. But the same kind of track, meaning I do think there is a gold potential here. Of course, anybody who's at a 79 or 78 is that close to gold. So I'm not even saying much when I say there's gold potential. What I am trying to suggest, though, is that there is a high gold potential and that Zach Davies is now very much in the hold for gold realm. Patrick Corbin had to get downgraded. I don't do downgrades because first off, I think it would just take too much time to go through and also try to come up with the downgrades. But this was one I was seeing very clearly. This was one of the obvious ones. Same with Ketel Marte leaving Diamond. When we get to hitters, you'll see that. But yeah, some of them, they just stand out, and this was definitely one that needed to happen. He just hasn't been there this year. The fastball isn't working. He's only a 2-pitch guy, fastball, slider, with the slider being his best pitch. But if the fastball isn't working, he becomes a 1-pitch guy. So then on the days that the slider isn't at its best, what do you got? Nothing. And all of a sudden you're at 4.76 ERA, 1.49 WHIP, which isn't even the end of the world. Like that tells you how good he is, that even kind of navigating the season with like a pitch, he's still, a reasonable major leaguer, but certainly not to the quality that we'd been expecting out of Corbin. Sixto Sanchez is very much on the hold for gold track. He's been brilliant. He's must-watch TV every 5th day. You can see he's got the 25 strikeouts in 25 innings, just 2 walks. What I love so much about him as a young pitcher who's come up with a ready-made changeup and control, you do not see that very often. That's what makes him so unbelievably special. Oh, and he throws 100 miles an hour. Like, what a combo. I mean, this is a DeGromian kind of combo. And I'm not saying that he's DeGrom, but I'm saying these are the things that DeGrom developed to become what he is. But it took time to build on those blocks. Sixto comes in ready-made with 100-mile-per-hour BBs, the ability to place it where he wants, and a changeup. That's not even fair. That's not fair. And the poise and swagger to go with it, by the way, too. He looks like a 5-year veteran out there when he's pitching. Corbin Burnes, also a very strong hold for gold candidate. In fact, I'd put Sixto and Burnes even higher than Davies, even though they're an extra point away from it. I love their dominance a bit more. They have the chance to go out there and have that massive start at any one time. And of course, there's only a few starts left for everybody. There's like 3 left for most guys, so time is running out. But I do think that both these guys can get there by the end of the year. Heaney could, but I would not be as invested in him as I would be these other two, and even Davies. Heaney's always seems to be prone to that blow up. Now, I will say one thing that really stands out to me is the 3 homers. I love that from him. Home runs have been an issue for him in the past, so the fact that he's limiting them is huge, and I am still putting him on a hold for gold. But if I'm ranking them, I'm going to go Sixto, Burnes, Davies, Heaney. Just those 4 off the top. Now, this one's interesting. People were saying Barrios to gold, and instead he went down. And I got to be honest, I didn't see that he would go down either. I also put him on the gold track. I saw what other folks were seeing. He was not like my top gold, but I absolutely thought he was gold. So I'm not trying to shirk responsibility there. So I was kind of struck that he went the other way. He did get a little love on the hits and the Ks, but he goes down in the walks and loses 1 point of stamina, so he goes down to a 78. I would still hold him for gold because he is pitching quite well. This is one of those, I had a little bit of toughness with it though, because his composite numbers were still bad, but I told you guys I was trying to improve on not just looking at the bottom line numbers. Remember, Tyler Glasnow was a bit of a miss for me when he did finally go gold because he had like a 4.20 ERA and his whip was up a little bit, and I was like, well, are they going to give it to him? But they were isolating the recent work, so I was trying to do that with Barrios, and I put him up to an 80. I would still hold my shares if I had him. I don't know that I would buy a ton more, even though the price is going to absolutely plummet. Maybe, it really depends your stomach for it, because he, like Heaney, can be prone to the blow up too. Maybe check the schedule, see what's coming up. If it's like a White Sox outing, maybe don't do it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Maybe a Cubs. Either Chicago really are the only two teams that you have to be scared of in the Central. He's on the Twins, although they haven't even been that scary this year if you look at the numbers. So, hold your shares, but don't go too crazy. I feel like we talk about Keuchel every week, and I keep saying, I think he can get to the high 70s, but I don't know if gold's there. Now here we are. We're staring it dead in the face. He's at 78. Can he get the final push there? I'm still going to lean no, but I will say there's a couple factors that stand out to me that could maybe make it happen. I still think there's some movement in this hits per 9. And if the Homer 9 gets moved up. Now, I don't know how much the Homer 9 affects the live series roster because it's not a live series, it's not a DD stat that plays. I don't know how much moving it actually would change their overall. I think it moves the needle, but not to the same degree as hits, Ks, and BB. UC has allowed just one homer this year. If they move that up along with the hits 9, maybe it is there. So I would put Keuchel on a fringe hold for gold if you're interested, but don't go crazy. Don't go crazy here. Pablo Lopez, it's too soon for me to talk about it. I have him on multiple fantasy teams. If you know what he's been doing recently, you know that I can't be asked to talk about him. It's too soon. I'm sorry, it's too soon. I can't. Julio Urias goes down a notch. I had him on an early hold for gold, like in that very initial video I did. He's somebody I really liked. I thought he could get to gold this year. He has certainly not been bad. He's been a little bit up and down, though. I think he's got, 8 starts. I think 3 of them have been mediocre to bad. The rest have been pretty good, though. But the bottom line is, solid. Nothing particularly special, but like a high silver. So that's exactly what he is. I think with 3 brilliant starts, he could get there to finish the season, but I would not invest expecting somebody to do that. That's too lofty of a goal. So I would not invest in Julio Urias. If he has that first brilliant start, then maybe we start to change our tune. But as it stands right now, do not go hard on Julio Urias. Here we go. Tyler Mahle into silver. I thought he might just get into, I think I put him right at a 75 this week. I had him just going into silver, but he goes all the way up to 77 and now puts himself in a little bit of a gold candidacy, and he has been killing it. Now, 2 starts ago, he had that one against St. Louis where he pitched 7 strong but only had 3 strikeouts. And something like that, as small as that is, where the actual start is still good but the skills around it were mediocre to poor, that can be enough to kind of derail you. So I would just hold here. If you were saving for silver and you had a plan to put your silver shares into like an affinity or something like that, then by all means proceed forward with it, because he is definitely an outside shot for gold, but it's not off the table. Kevin Gossman gets a big jump up. He's been absolutely killing it. You see 62 strikeouts and 46 2/3, 41 hits, 12 walks. Great season for him. There's a chance, and I think the real chance would come if he continues to limit hits. In fact, if he can do it better than what we've seen so far here with the 41 in 46 2/3, which is a 7.9 hit 9, which is good. But if he can even put that lower, let's say he's more around 6 hits per 9 over these final 3 starts, that could deliver a healthy boost in the hit 9 category, and that could get him there. I got to be honest, I'm looking at Gossman, and I would put him as a higher potential. Among these 77s, these 4 here, I would rank Gossman the highest on the gold train, then Mahle, then Urias, and then I still can't talk about it. I can't do it. Sandy Alcantara gets into silver here. I don't really see any gold potential, but I do like what he's been doing this year. Quality season out of him. I like that he's boosting the K rate too, because if you saw him pitch last year, he wasn't somebody who really went for the strikeouts, but he would always put up some good outings. And this year he's starting to find his strikeout form. Big jump for Davy Garcia. Now, I didn't think he'd get quite all the way there just yet. I put him up at a 73, but I'm happy to have been wrong on this because he gets that nice 20-point jump in BB9. And we've talked about this many a time where they start these young guys off with the low BB9 because that's usually the first thing. When you get up to the majors, you don't want to be living in the zone, like in the middle too much, so you're trying to hit your corners and whatnot, and you have to kind of earn your stripes as far as getting the close calls. I mean, if it's a strike, it's a strike. They need to call it. But as far as like really close calls that can go either way, rookies can tend to have a little bit of a bias against them. It's been shown statistically that can happen, but he's had no issues with that. He is attacking hitters. He's getting out in front, and he's pitching remarkably well. I don't see gold here, but I love that he got to silver, and if you invested in him as a bronze, then you got big dividends there. Framber Valdez gets a little nooch move. There is no gold potential there. Big jump up for Tristan McKenzie. I really did like him to get a healthy jump as well, but I only had him going to 74, so I'm an idiot. He went up to 75. I got it wrong. I'm just kidding. I feel pretty good about that because I had him for the big jump, and I wasn't sure if they'd go all the way to silver, but they did. I'm here for it. He's been excellent. The Cleveland pitching factory continues. Josh Thoman gets a little jump there. He's been pretty good for the Braves, and they've needed some guys to step up, and for him to step up for 28 2/3 with a 3.77 ERA has been huge for them. He could get to silver. He's 1 point away, right? Alec Mills gets nooched. Senzatella gets a 1 point jump. John Means had to come down. It's been really tough because he's had an interesting year. His stuff has greatly improved. His raw stuff. He's throwing harder. It's nastier, but he's had trouble commanding it, and the changeup's been a bit of an issue for him too, kind of finding that feel. And pitching is such a feel thing that we can only speculate when we're watching. Like, well, he doesn't have the feel for this, he doesn't have the feel for that, or he does have the feel for this. We don't really know, unless you're talking to the guys. So it's hard to know for sure. But also, kind of an off-the-field thing that you can never know how this is being affected. His father passed away this year. So, there's just tumult as far as having difficult outings and personal strife. But pulling for John Means, really love to see the development that he's had with his raw stuff. I hope he can bring that in with the command and control that we saw last year, because there could really be something here for him long term. Jesus Luzardo only gets up to a 74, but I'm still saving for silver here. Matthew Boyd, he pulled the rug out from under you guys, didn't he? Idiots. Way to go. Look, he's been a fantasy nightmare this year. I feel like so many people who have had him on their team are putting him in when he's getting killed, benching him when he's doing well, and it's just been awful to deal with. I got to be honest. I sat out this year as far as Matthew Boyd goes. It's not that I thought he'd be this bad. No way could I even pretend that I thought he'd have a 7.63 ERA. But with the amount of homers that he allowed in the second half last year, I didn't really see any reason that was going to change drastically. So I don't like to deal with guys who have major home run issues. That's the quickest way to have a blow-up outing, is to give up a couple homers. And he loves to do that. He'll be cruising for 3 innings and then give up 3 homers in the 4th inning. And all of a sudden, it's a 3 2/3, 6-run outing. And you're like, didn't he have 3 no-hit innings? It's so frustrating. But yeah, that's where Matthew Boyd is. I don't think he gets back to silver this year. Pineda jumped up. I think he's an easy save for silver. He's been great since returning from suspension. Skubal gets a little jump. He did fall apart again yesterday. He's been up and down. He's a rookie, though. You expect it with a rookie. Kwang Kim is dealing with, I believe, a kidney issue that put him on the IL. I think his season might actually be done, but he showed out pretty nicely here. Hopefully, health is all you really care about right now. I don't need to worry about the numbers, but it was nice watching him pitch. He did do well, and I hope everything's all right with his health and he can get back out on the field as soon as possible. Kikuchi's an interesting save for silver. His numbers are not off the charts as far as ERA goes, but again, ERA is not reflected on the card, so it's not the biggest issue. You look at the 110 whip, that's walks and hits, and both of those could use a little bit more love. We're starting to see them get some love here. Again, the walk rate dropping is peculiar to me. This reminds me of the Darvish one. Like, what? He's not walking guys, but okay, we'll see how it goes. I do think he is an interesting save for silver if you want to get some for team affinity. Adrian Hauser had to come down, man. He has just been brutal this year. Andres gets a little nooch move. Jacob Jr.'s position change. Jorge Alcala gets stamina for being a starter. TJ Antone, I feel like he's being underrated still, to be honest. He gets a nice sizable 4-point move here. I do think there are 4 more points potential for Silver if he continues to pitch like this, especially. But even if he's like a little bit worse than this and continues to put up these skills that are around this, plus what he's already done, I think there are the 4 points needed to get Silver. So he's a friend, he's a low-key save for Silver, but he shouldn't be very expensive either. So even if you do accumulate a bunch and he only goes up to like 73, 74, it's still going to be a good affinity exchange, which is all you're really looking for here with him anyway. Luke Weaver's been a disaster. It's been a bummer to watch. Chase Anderson's been meh. He's been fine for Toronto, but as far as his skills, he did need to get downgraded. I understand it. Kyle Freeland's been getting a little bit of a short shrift here, I got to say. Although, he pitches in Colorado, so you see the hit 9 is through the roof there at 54 hits in 50. And anytime you're over a hit per inning, that's too high. But you see him when he's on the road, and he can really spread his wings a bit and show out. I've been impressed. He's kind of gotten back closer to a 2018 vibe, and it's been nice. I guess now that I'm looking at the skills, though, maybe this does make more sense than I thought. I thought maybe he was closer to Silver than SDS did, but now that I'm looking at it, I think they've got it right. Fleming gets a huge jump. He's been pitching pretty well for them. He's evened out a little bit after a really fast start, but he did need to get his numbers fixed. He came in as a common, so if you bought some of those commons, that's a ripe market for team affinity, is when a common comes in and they just hit the ground running. Go get a bunch at single digits or low double digits, and then just wait for them to go up to bronze, and that's a great affinity exchange. You're not going to get rich off of it stubs wise, but you can get very nice team affinity bumps. And TA4 is coming out right around the corner. Our boy Derek Holland gets a nice little BB9 bump. He's had his ups and downs this year. Obviously, he would admit that home runs have been an issue for him, but nice to see him get a little BB9 boost there. Brandon Waddell moves into SP. Nick Margavicius finally gets his boost, and I think it comes after a rough start, though. He'd actually been pitching quite well. You can see the whip is still pretty nice there, but the ERA's bounced up. But the skills, just about a strikeout per inning, very few walks. Homers a little bit up there, hits a little bit up there, but did deserve to go bronze. Jorge Lopez, position change. Colby Allard gets a little bit of love there, but nothing to really see. Nothing crazy here. Dean Kramer's an interesting one, though. He has been, this is what I'll be talking about now. He already moved into bronze, but look at how he's been pitching through his first 6 innings. He's still going to be dirt cheap, I would imagine. So you could get in and still get him for, low double digits. And if he continues to bump up, maybe into the low 70s, that could be a team affinity jump. He's probably my favorite on far and away my favorite on this page, based on just the talent that we've seen in a very limited sample. And then, nothing else to see here. Let's see if there's any new SPs. Okay, we got Clark Schmidt coming in as a bronze. Matt Tabor, Josh Green, another Luis Garcia. That makes 52 Luis Garcias in the league right now. That's incredible. Every team has at least one, and several teams have 2 Luis Garcias. I think there's a couple that have 3. But Luis Garcia, 1 for every team. Taylor Guerreri and Drew Anderson as well. Any new RPs? Drew Rasmussen, Alex Powers, Travis Radke, and Travis Bergen. He was the trade over for Robbie Ray, and then no new CPs. Just wanted to get that out of the way with the new pitchers. James Karinchak, big day for him. Not only does he get an amazing Diamond Player of the Month card that has incredible ratings, but he also gets another boost here on his live series. He's very much in the hold for Gold Realm. If you're not in already, what are you doing? By the way, we need to get them to bump up his clutch rating. I think his runners in scoring position performance has been markedly better. You see the big velo and break and control jumps. His pitch repertoire got improved as he deserved. Same with our boy Devin, and a 7-point jump. I love this one. We did lose a little bit of that stamina because he was a very recent starter who is now in the bullpen. I get it. They had to do it. I will take this trade-off. I will give the 19 stamina for all the other goodness that's come here because he's been amazing. If you follow Pitching Ninja, you know about Devin Williams. He covers him like every time he pitches. 35 strikeouts in 17 innings with just 4 hits, 6 walks, 1 homer. I wonder who hit that homer. Oh my God. You just close your eyes and swing. He's been amazing. I cannot wait to start using him in BR now that he's more appropriately rated for what he's been able to do this year. Our boy Trev May gets a little bit of a nooch move here with his hits 9 going way down, but the Ks and BB going up. So that's actually not a terrible move there. Balances him out a little bit. He is still on a gold potential. I would not overly invest though, because as you can see, the numbers are a bit skewed. Basically what we would need the rest of the way is a boatload of Ks and virtually no walks. So it's a potential, but I would not invest right now. Sorry, Trevor, just gotta be honest right now. Because I think it would take, especially with relievers, because they don't pitch that much, it would take too flawless of a run over his last 4 or 5 outings. He's just not going to have that much time is going to be the issue right now. If this were a standard 6-month season, even with the 5.74 ERA and 140 whip, I would be investing, but because the time's ticking and the season's almost over, can't do it. Jake McGee gets a big boost. He's been a quiet reclamation for the Dodgers, of course. The Dodgers rebuild up Jake McGee and turn him into a lefty stud, just what they needed, another badass player. But he was kind of left for dead. It looked like, hey, he's done as an effective reliever. Not so fast, my friend. Excellent outing, excellent season for him in 14 innings, and he gets back into the silver tier. Diego Castillo just moved from CP to RP. Matt Whistler gets a healthy bump here on his hits and Ks, but then loses BB and stamina, so it ends up being nooch. Okay, this one I don't get, okay? And you know what? Yes, I am a little bit pissed because I invested, and I get it. When you're talking about your own thing, it's like, well, you're just mad because of that. Well, kind of, yeah, because I don't get it. Why did he not go back to SP? So if you're wondering what I'm talking about here, I invested in him very cheaply, by the way. This is not going to hurt in any conceivable way. The most I paid for him was 40 stubs, so it's not the end of the... And he actually got an upgrade, so it's fine. But what I thought was going to happen and what should have happened was that he was going to move back to SP and be a silver again. Because why did he even move to RP ever? I don't get it. I understand they traded for Mike Minor, so they had 6 starters. Well, just leave 6 starters then. Now, I don't know if there's some limit to where they can't because of the team setup or whatnot, but for all intents and purposes, they're using 6 starters. And if you were going to put anybody at RP, it would be Minor, because his first appearance with them was a relief appearance. Bassett has not relieved. This is a travesty. It's an outrage. Okay, it's not that deep, but it is wrong, and it should be fixed. He did get an upgrade, which is great. I will say that when he does go back to SP, he'll be like a 77 because you get like 4 to 5 points moving. I think he was a 75 when he was at SP. He moves to RP, lost 5 points. Now he adds 2 points from an upgrade. So again, I think 76, 77 for sure when he goes back to SP. David Phelps gets a healthy bump. Been a little bit under the radar there with Philly. Nick Vincent doing his thing. I had no idea he had a 2.70 ERA and .96 whip. I'll be honest on that. Ooh, tough scene here for Petit. That's, wow, -9s. Like that's -9's a pretty healthy bump, but to lose 4 points off of those 2 -9s, that's a lot, man. That's tough. Petit has always been one of those guys who you look at. He's on 5-star a lot for inside edge, and he pops up in my BR, and I'm always like, he looks intriguing, but then every time I try him, he gets killed, and I think it's because he throws too slowly, and his changeup comes floating in and just gets killed, and it just doesn't work. Matt Foster, I never understood why he was moved to CP in the first place, so he jumps out back to RP. Daniel Norris gets a little bit of love, loses the stamina. He's been a primary pitcher. Like he'll get an opener, usually Michael Fulmer, and then he comes in and deals. This is a nice little BR card now as a lefty. Not your primary lefty, ideally your second or even third lefty, but he can give you a little bit more than an inning with the 45 stamina. The hit and K9 are not great, but BB9, so you can kind of put it where you want it. I do kind of like Daniel Norris as a fringe BR player. Caleb Theobar gets a big jump, and it was a long time coming because he's been excellent this year. So he gets a healthy jump from 58 to 66. Woj moves to RP, and you can see here, -4, -6, and that's without any change. That's just moving from SP to RP. So when Bassett goes back, it's going to be a big jump. and he needs to move back. He should have never moved out. Joe Jimenez, garbage. Matt Harvey, and nothing else really to see here. Now, he should be SP. This I don't understand. Did he move to the bullpen and I missed it? I don't believe so, but I will take a look and look it up real quick. Did he move to RP and I just missed it? No. He's been starting his last 6 outings, so I don't understand why he's not at SP, which, would probably move him. I guess, wait, did he move from SP to RP? I don't get it. Yeah, that's what the -6 is for. I don't get it. It's not the end of the world either, because he wouldn't even be a bronze anyway. It's just the principle of the matter and the consistency. I just want to know what's going on here. Thomas Hatch, okay. There's one a week. There's one a week where they move a guy into RP, or not move him into RP, but they take the stamina off a former starter who's moved into RP, who's been pitching brilliantly, and they don't upgrade his metrics. So you went into the card, you saw we got to lower the stamina, but you just ignored the 20 strikeouts in 19 innings with 6 hits allowed, 2 homers and 9 walks. I don't get it. Again, I am exaggerating the importance of this. It's Thomas Hatch, a 55 common, excuse me. I don't want to pretend like I'm losing my shit over it. I just don't understand how it happens. You had to go look at the sheet and say he needs to go down in stamina. You didn't see the rest of them. I don't know. They're killing it. I'm gonna be honest. They're killing it on the roster updates. I love what they're doing at the high tiers, but some of these common bronze stuff, a little puzzling to me. That's all. And then we go into closers, and Hendricks does get his diamond that was long awaited. He's been pitching remarkably well. Well deserved. Hopefully you held in if you were invested in him. There was no reason to ever jump out. Remember, they had that COVID week that kind of derailed it and probably pushed this back a week. Nooched. Oh, Kenley Janssen gets nooched, y'all. I'm telling you, this is why I have not been super hot on him going diamond. I had him on the sheet this week going diamond, but he was last among my 3, Goldschmidt, Lugo, and Jansen, and I have not been aggressively pushing him out and saying to go invest in him or even putting out a bunch myself. I've just been kind of like I said, I put him on the list. I'm not trying to shirk responsibility and come up with excuses. I'm telling you my thought process, though. I put him on because I could see it, because he's been very good, but he hasn't been transcendent enough to break through to the diamond the way Hendricks did or the way Lugo did. He's just been kind of 95% of Kenley Janssen, which is, I think, still a diamond, but as you can see here, because of his walk rate, he doesn't get it, and so you continue to wait if you want. That's really up to you. Position change. Soto gets a little +5 boost. This was a long time coming, too. Remember, we were in on him as a common, and now that he's a 70, I held my shares, and these are going to be good for the affinity exchange. Ginkle moves into the CP role, so does Alex McRae. I don't know who that is, but good for him. JT Realmuto has 0 stats, apparently. Where did his stats go? I don't know what happened. Interesting jump here, though. So he gets the contact versus left, the power versus right, and the discipline, but loses big on the contact versus right and the vision, so he ends up losing a point. Yasmani gets nooched. To be honest, this is a big positive for his card, though, because the -5 vision is not the end of the world. Because if you don't know, with the 2 parts of the PCI, the inner part is contact, the outer part is vision. Most people are focused on the inner part, so contact's really the bigger deal, and you got +4 and +12. So the -5 in vision, y'all can have that. We'll take all these other gains here and make the card even better. Yasmani kills it. The only thing that's tough about him is when I draft him in BR, I usually have to draft a backup catcher, because that 6 speed, it's just, if you have a long run, if you get 5, 6, 7, 8 games deep, which, that's not a super long run, but once you start to get rolling, the more games you play, you're going to come up with a situation where he's going to be on base in the 3rd inning, and you're going to need a run, and he's 6 speed. He can't move anywhere. But you can't pinch run for him if you don't have a backup catcher. So draft a backup catcher with Yasmani Grandal. Huge move here for Will Smith. He is now on the gold ticket. Keep an eye out on him. I imagine his price will rise, but keep an eye out on it. We'll look at it later to see exactly where it's at. But I know some of you are already in on Will Smith. just stay tight. Hold for gold very much in order here. Pedro Severino, I thought he would get to silver here eventually. He's sitting right there on the cusp. He's still a save for silver. He's kind of one of those low-key guys. Nothing crazy. Yikes.
Not great, Bob.
So, I will say, this just makes him better for BR. He's basically Zunino now, who's amazing in BR. Because it's on All-Star, they can still crush. So, yeah, I mean, this is devastating, but I kill it with Zunino. I feel like I would still kill it with Sanchez. He was a BR god moving to silver. I think he's even more so, and he's going to pop up even more as a bronze. So you're going to be prepared to pitch to Gary Sanchez because it's going to happen a lot if you play Battle Royale. Tyler Flowers gets downgraded a tick. Oh, I skipped over Kelly and Barnhart because it don't really matter. That's the main reason. Caleb Joseph, Jose Briceño, Jacob Nottingham, and Stuart Levy are the new ones. Nothing really to see there. Jorge Alfaro goes down a little bit. Sean Murphy goes big up there. Big 3-point gain with a lot of big shifts, although the big contact versus lefty drop. A lot more viable against righties. Not really sure you're using him anywhere, though. If you really like Sean Murphy, there's a prospect card and a future stars card that you can get in your lineups. You can put them in your main lineup too and really utilize him. More jump for Jose Abreu because he just continues to kill it. He's having an amazing season. Good for him. Congrats to Freddie Freeman. 10-year career and finally hits his first Grand Slam. He's awesome. Deserved upgrade there. And finally, everyone was waiting. You know what would be funny? Call him Paul Diamond Schmidt. Yeah? Easy joke, obviously. Everyone's already said it a billion times. We've been saying it for weeks. When is he going to become Paul Diamond Schmidt? He finally does. Again, patience. If you held on, which you should have, there was no reason to jump out. I understand the frustration week to week when you've got your hopes pinned on somebody and you don't get the payoff to go get the card that you wanted or just to get the stubs, whatever it is. Like for me, I was really hoping to cash in this week to go get Casey Mize. And so I understand when you don't get that payoff, but you have to be patient. So hopefully you stuck with Paul Goldschmidt. He got it. Good to go. Go get your stubs. I love you, Matty O, but you had to get downgraded. Like you had to. He's still BR viable because again, guys like this on All-Star can still play because their power is so awesome that even with the awful contact, which will affect the inside PCI, of course. Like this is a hit, but they're still so good that it doesn't matter. I warned your friend Kyle last week. I let him know. I said, hey, Hoskins might be losing his silver stature for you. Be prepared. Well, he survived. He went to 79, but he had another big week, and I messaged him again. I said, it's over now, man. Say your goodbyes. It's over. Hug watch. So, Kyle met him in the dugout, gave him a hug, said, you got to get off the BR team. I can't take you as a gold anymore. I got to find my next silver stud. It's over. But congrats to those who were invested in him because it paid off nicely. Brandon Belt, the big payoff. I was nervous on this one, and I'm happy to be wrong because I know some of you were invested massively. I know Quashtag had 245 Brandon Belts, so he needed this to come through. My concern was that they would give him the big love against righties, but take away from his verse lefty. They did not, and honestly, I think it's the right move here. Like, the thing of it is you have to ask yourself sometimes, is he playing like a gold level player? Like, does it make sense to make him a gold level player? Yes, right? He's been one of the best hitters in the league this year. He has a 10-15 OPS on the season. Yes, he's hitting 105 against lefties, but that comes in 24 plate appearances, which is a minuscule sample, and it comes with a 100 BABIP, which is comically absurd and likely contains at least some bad luck. So you move him to gold, you give him a little bit more time on the verse lefties. If he continues to flop, then they'll have to downgrade him, and it might take him out of gold. But that's why you just sell right now. You get your payout, and then you don't have to worry about it. Rowdy Tellez moves into silver. Let's go. And this was just in the nick of time because he did get hurt and he will now be on the IL. I don't know if it's for the rest of the year, but there was some concern, that if he didn't get it this week, it wasn't going to happen. Carlos Santana had to come down. He's kind of been like, not to the same degree, but similar to Matt Olson, where some of his skills are still working. Like his power hasn't been as good, but look at that. They both have the like awful average and capable OBP. Matty O has a little bit more power, and Santana has a little bit more OBP. But the rest of the line, like it's just not working. They both had to get downgraded. Matty O had a little bit more wiggle room, so he stays gold, but Santana had to come down. Mountcastle with the big jump. I feel like he can be a major save for silver. I put him at a 74, so I had him right on the cusp. It is the same type of deal where, you know, if 73, 74, basically I was going to have him a point or two away. Now he is at that point where if he continues to hit like this, he'll be a silver. So there you go. And Ryan McBroom gets a nice little jump there for his quality season. Any new first baseman? Nope. Any new second baseman? Nope. Whit Merrifield loses his diamond stature. He hasn't been bad. I mean, you look at his composite numbers, they've still been solid, but they are not diamond caliber anymore, and it's because of that batting average. And so that's why he had to lose his diamond stature, and I totally get it. Jeff McNeil does get a jump, and it was deserved, but it was interesting that it actually did not come in the power category because he hadn't had any homers on the season and then hit 4 in a row, which was pretty interesting. And you might have been thinking, well, he's going to get a power boost. To me, that just brought him back to where, you know, he brought him back to par. But he does end up getting the boost because of the vision, discipline, and contact. He even lost contact against lefties. So this is kind of interesting now. If he does hit a couple more homers, there could be another boost back up to like 83, 84. So we'll see. Brandon Lau did have to come down. He did get his big Player of the Month card, which is awesome. But he has not been hitting now for a couple weeks, so I'm not surprised by this. And remember, he had that surge there right after he went gold where he was trending in like the 3,000 stub range. And, you know, people were thinking, hey, this could be a diamond caliber. But no, he really came down and had to drop down to an 81. He could actually leave gold by the end of the year if he continues to struggle. I don't think so, but it is a possibility. You shouldn't really be invested in him anymore at this point. Like, even if you did hang on when he was at an 82, thinking maybe there's a diamond caliber, exchange those now. I wouldn't even wait for TA4. Well, unless you're 100% for everything, in which case you have to wait. But if you still have some AL East that can be done, or some Miami Marlins TA that can be done, go do. And TA means team affinity, by the way, just in case that's not clear. Gleber Torres. Now this is interesting, because he moves down 2 points, yet Rory is saying keep an eye on him to maybe roar back all the way to gold. We'll see if it happens. I haven't seen how well he's doing lately. Obviously, he's not doing that well if he had to get him another huge downgrade. Jonathan VR has been a nightmare with Toronto early on. It's only been 9 games, so let's not go too... In fact, nightmare is an overstatement. He has not been good in 9 games. The tough part, though, and this is more of a fantasy take than anything else, is that he hasn't run with them at all. He hasn't even attempted a stolen base. So I think in fantasy, you could actually cut him at this point. So a little fantasy advice thrown in there, depending on where your season's at. Now, if you're like 2, 3, 4 steals away from making a big move in your standings, don't cut him. But if you are 5 steals from even 1 point, then you can cut him. Anyway, sorry. Mix in a little fantasy advice there, just for those of you that are still down the stretch trying to win your league titles. Donovan Solano, he just hit 5 more line drives while we were talking. They're not even playing a game, but he just was hitting some line drives over there just for fun in my front yard. It's weird. I don't know why he's here, but he is hitting line drives in my front yard. All this dude does is hit line drives. He's a monster. As far as gold, it's not off the table. Let's just say that. If you've been investing since bronze, just hold. Just be patient. Just see where it goes. Because the worst case is that he's going to wind up as unless he goes 0 for the rest of the year, he's going to stay a silver. So you might as well just stick around and see where it takes you. Garrett Hampson gets a little love, moves up to a 74. Kevin Newman leaves the silver tier. He's been abysmal this year. Josh Harrison gets a little love. He's been pretty good for Washington. I love watching him play, man. He's so swagged out. He's got all the gear on. He just looks like a ball player, man. And I like when Josh Harrison's doing things. Where's Foolish Baseball? He's got to be loving this. His boy Tim Locastro gets a big jump. I wonder if that discipline is related strictly to hit by pitches. They should have a hit by pitch meter, and he should be a 125. And the only one in the game that's a 125. That can even go to 125. It's not even open to anybody else, no matter how often they get hit, like Starling Marte and Anthony Rizzo. Our boy Jem, Colin Weatherwax, has mentioned keep an eye out on Keston here. This is kind of one of his pet players of maybe jumping back into silver tier. He gets the 1 point right now. Keep a close eye. The power's still there. So if he went on a batting average run and just kind of started hitting for the last few weeks, I could definitely see that. But if you're one of those folks that likes to invest bronze to silver for the team affinities, Keston here could be your guy, and that's courtesy of Colin Weatherwax. Joe Panic, it's time to panic because he moved down big time. Nolan Arenado loses a point. He's not been that great this year, and even playing in Coors, he's got a 768 OPS. He did need to move down. Remember, he hit that big hot streak. He started poorly, hit the big hot streak, and I was among them saying, hey, this is why you don't panic. He's back where he belongs. It's all good. Relax. And then he's hit the skids again. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about him. But for some reason, he's just having kind of a meh bummer season. It's not the end of the world type of season, but this is going to lower his fantasy value too. Sorry to bring in all the fantasy talk here, but it's just part of my nature. He was going in like the second round this year, which I thought was crazy. Turns out, maybe folks knew something more than I did on this one. He's going to move to like the late second, early third next year if this continues. If he doesn't surge to the finish line, people are going to continue to move him down. I will continue to trust Coors, especially over a 6-month season. So I will have Nolan Arenado on every team if he's going in the third round. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Oh, any new third baseman? Nope. Manny Machado just continues to have an excellent season. And you know what? Let me step back. Because your boy is not afraid to do a little back pat every once in a while when I cop one right. But this is another Padre that has made me look bad, and I will eat that L. Because I deserve it. And I think my process was okay. And I'll always say that. Even when I'm taking an L, I'll admit that, I'll be open to saying I still think what got me to where I lost where I took the L had validity. But sometimes you still get an L. And for me, I'd been looking at what he'd done since leaving Baltimore. So with LA and with his first year with San Diego, he was downright pedestrian. He had like a high 700s OPS outside of Baltimore. And so I was saying, do we know that he's a superstar level talent? Because even last year, he was a star. Even when he wasn't doing his best work, he still had like 35 homers. So he was definitely still a star. But is he a superstar talent still outside of Baltimore, which is a great hitting environment? Turns out the answer is a resounding yes with a giant FU to me. So Manny, you hustled. You hustled up big time. You're up to a 90. You're playing brilliantly. And I'm happy to be wrong on this one because he's always been someone I've enjoyed watching. And I even backed him on the hustle thing. I backed him to the degree that I understand that not everyone runs out every ground ball that they know they're going to be out. I didn't back him on saying it, though. You don't say that part out loud. It was just stupid that he even said it. And don't step on people's ankles when you're running. I would never support him on that. That's stupid. But anyway, he's been great. I lost. Kyle Seager continues to inch upward, showing himself to be the better Seager. I mean, Corey has the advantage of playing with the Dodgers. That's the only reason that he's better. It has nothing to do with skill. If they were both on the Dodgers, Kyle would already be like a 94. And that's the only difference. Kyle Seager, better Seager. Book it. Chris Bryant. He's fixing to be silver by the end of the year. I got Char crying outside the door. I'm gonna go ahead and get her. You know what? We're not cutting this. We're keeping it. I didn't mean to slam the door there. Sometimes I just shut a little tight there, or a little hard. Anyway, Char's in the mix. I don't even know how I'm gonna chop these two together with the internet splicing out. So I'm definitely not cutting out letting Char back into the room. Eugenio gets a boost again as far as like his utilization right now, which is BR in events type. where if it's on All-Star for the event, I know BR of course is, this is actually a boon for us because yeah, the contact went down, but at All-Star, it's still going to have a big enough PCI to where you're going to be able to make contact. Meanwhile, both sides of his power go up. We'll take this all day. Are you kidding me? Thank you, SDS. Devers gets a little jump here. I can't remember. This might have also been Colin Weatherwax. It could have been somebody else, but somebody in chat mentioned him yesterday when we were talking about some guys. And we looked, and I did see how he is very much on the hold for gold track. He gets 1 point here. If he continues to hit like he's been hitting the last couple of weeks, Devers will get back to gold. So he's a sneak tip. Well, maybe not sneak tip, but he is a good investment. And now she's butting her way up here, trying to jump up into my lap. Okay, what up? You want to do this next one? Okay, guys, I told you, I said definitely invest in Dylan Moore because he's going to go back from free agent onto Seattle, and he might even go to silver, and you can get him for 35 stubs. So if you don't do that, you're stupid. Sure, don't call him stupid. You can't, that's not the right thing to do. Yeah, but if they didn't invest in Dylan Moore, then they're very stupid. Okay, you're out. You can't do that. Sorry, guys. You can't do that. Anyway, Dylan Moore was a nice little sneak tip investment because he was a free agent, and so he was going dirt cheap. That's because he was on the IL. And the reason they do that, in case you guys are unfamiliar with, why do these guys like Dellin Betances and Roberto Osuna and Ozzy Albies earlier this year, why do they go to the free agents? They want to keep every team at 40 or below. They never want it to go over 40 that you have to collect. So they do us a little favor sometimes. They move over some of those silvers or golds, never a diamond. They're always going to keep the diamonds on there. But when the team gets a little too congested and they got some guys on the IL, shift them over to free agent, put up the new guy, and that way you've got 40 still. But then when they come off the IL, they're going to come back. So Dylan Moore came back and got an upgrade. So he was a sneak tip save for silver there that I hope you guys were able to jump in on because I was getting him at like 50 stubs last night, and that'll be a nice little boost there. And he went even higher than I thought. I put him at a 75. He went all the way up to 78. He's been awesome this year. And if you haven't seen him run out of the box, take a look at the Cespedes Barbecue Twitter feed. They've been chronicling it. It's hilarious. You just trust me. Go over there, take a look, and you'll see it pretty quickly in their feed. This is a bummer, man. And you know what? This is something that you really have to focus on, the reason behind this. This will make him a BR god yet again because he'll go to silver, which is great for us. But I want to talk about the person, the actual guy, the real life guy. He has mentioned that his struggles with COVID have been substantial and that it has consistently affected him. And this is one of those things that we don't always know. And if he hadn't told a reporter, or I don't know if it was a press conference or when it came out, but if we hadn't heard that, we may have just assumed that it was skill regression. And no, it's actually been the fact that he's had a worse case of COVID than a lot of other guys. Some guys, like I said, they breezed through it, barely even feel a thing, basically had to be quarantined just because they tested positive, but they were asymptomatic. Other guys like Yohan Moncada and I believe Garrett Cooper had a tough one as well. And they go through it a lot more where they deal with the congestive issues and different things. Moncada's been playing through it, but as you can see, he's not been himself. I will say, this just goes to show how good he is, though, that he's a 747 OPS with that weighing on him, which 747 is not like superstar caliber. It's not even star caliber, but it's not bad either. To be dealing with COVID, like having breathing troubles while trying to play Major League Baseball and still doing it at a pretty solid clip just shows you what kind of badass Yohan Moncada is. So I hope he gets well and really gets back to 100% at some point this year, because I want to see him kick ass in the playoffs, man. I'm really excited to see this White Sox ball club, and I've become a big fan of Moncada over the past couple of years. So I'm definitely rooting for him, and I hope everything checks out well with his health there. But from the selfish, more frivolous side, much more frivolous because his health is very important, he does become a BR god once again for us. Candyman. Now, I thought he was going to get to silver, and I am a Tigers fan, so I do have a little bit of bias there, and I will say that I was hoping for it, but it didn't quite happen. That said, he's continued to rake. He is going to get silver, I think, as early as next week. He's an absolute save for silver. Do not jump out. Rio Ruiz has had a solid little season with some punch. Nothing crazy there, though. I don't really think save for silver's in order unless he goes on a home run tear. Tsutsugo gets a nice healthy boost, but nothing crazy here. Dahlbeck, now he's been absolutely on fire. And I could actually see a sneak tip silver by the end of the season. Like, it would not surprise me that much. Now, the way it normally works with rookies like this is when they come in. I think Chavis actually did this. His teammate came in, lit the league on fire for a while, and then really hit the wall. Now, Dahlbeck is a better prospect, so I'm not saying that he's going to take the same trajectory, but I also don't think he's going to hit a homer every game, which is damn near what he's done. He had a homer in 5 straight games. He hit one in his very first game, took 4 games off, gave the league 4 offers in a row, and then he's been on fire his last 5. If he finishes strong, I think he'll get to silver, but I don't really see gold potential here unless he's just obscene. But nice little story there. And that Diamond Future Stars is a nice little card. I used him in a BR run that went about 9 games, and he did really well for me. Josh Fuentes gets a little love. Michael Brousseau gets a nice jump here. I know there were some folks that were on him because somebody asked about him in chat yesterday, and I meant to talk about him and I didn't get to him. But hopefully you got in single-digit stubs. Now he's a bronze. Nice little team affinity guy. Any new third baseman? Nope. Any new shortstops? Jake Elmore, Sergio Alcantara, and Matt Reynolds. Nothing really to see there. Trey Turner moves up to 89. Also gets a 99 Topps Now card. Big day for Trey Turner. He definitely has 90-plus potential. Little nooch move here for Francisco Lindor. Hey, like I said, I'm not I'll take my L's, but I'm not afraid to backpat when I get one right. I told y'all that I just didn't see it yet for Seager, and I thought he'd get nooched. This is exactly what this is what I was concerned about with Brandon Belt. But with Brandon Belt, they didn't punish him as much for his work against lefties, and he had more room to grow against righties too. That's why he was a little bit different than Seager. But I just was concerned that Seager's versus lefty numbers weren't going to be good enough to get him to Diamond yet. That said, he did hit a home run against a lefty last night, Madison Bumgarner. And I believe he got another hit too. So I think he had 2 hits. And I know that's small, but that moves the needle. It moved him from like a 255 batting average against them to a 272. Just like that. So if he can get a few more hits against lefties before next Wednesday, he will go Diamond. Bottom line, hold. Do not panic. There is still a strong potential that Seager gets there. I just didn't see it coming this week. Bogey gets nooched. As you can see, it's the contact against righties that really did us in. So keep an eye on his batting average against right-handers because he is a destined for Diamond candidate. That shouts to, I believe, Detroit for coming up with that. We have save for silver, hold for gold, and we didn't have one for diamond, and we came up with destined for diamond. We, the royal we. It was Detroit in the Discord, I believe. Next up, Carlos Correa. Remember when he was on the diamond track? Remember when he was destined for diamond at the very beginning of the year? It's been a painful road since. He's kind of just been meh. Thank you, SDS. Great work here. It wasn't going to happen on offense alone. They had to upgrade his defense and speed. Again, I do not want to overrate my impact. I did send an email over, though, highlighting his defense and speed, saying, if you guys can take a look at this, our boy Jake needs a little bit of love. Maybe they were already on it. They often are. They know what they're doing over there. But I'm always happy to put it in front of them to make sure that they know what's going on with things. And they got the big upgrades here. He went all the way to an 81. Well-deserved. God, I've made so many stubs off Jake Cronenworth. It's been unbelievable. All the way from when he was a common through now, he's my player of the year. He's my MLB The Show player of the year as far as investment. My actual player of the year is probably Luke Voigt as far as performance. But as far as investments, it has to be Cronenworth just because of his trajectory. Finally, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. gets the big jump. And you know what's really surprising here is they did not move him to left field. I don't know why. I kept saying that they were going to move him once they felt that his stats merited gold. They kept him at shortstop. I don't know. Maybe because moving him to left field will make him like an 84 or something. I don't know. But if that's what it does, that's what it does. Move him to left field. I did skip Angelton Simmons. Sorry, the chat mentioned that. He got nooched because his power has not been there, but he's been tearing the cover off the ball as far as base hits since returning. He's been absolutely on fire. And I'll give another piece of fantasy advice just because I wrote about him this morning over at Fangraphs. He's still widely available in shallower leagues, and batting average is very movable right now in leagues because we're only a month and a half into the year, but the year's almost over. So batting averages are moving wildly. This is a guy who could come on your team and gain you several points in batting average, and he's pretty available. In fact, I recommended cutting Jonathan VR and picking up Angelton Simmons. As far as Diamond goes, it's not going to happen without either like multi-hit games every game the rest of the season, or an infusion of power. Those are the only two ways, though. So, I mean, you can keep an eye on him. He's probably cheap enough to invest and not really cost you anything if nothing comes of it. But I would not put him on like a high destined for diamond list. I'd put him on that kind of fringe maybe list. I was just so excited about Cronenworth and Gurriel that I had to skip him. My bad. Adames gets 1 point. Okay, this is fine by me because I wasn't even sure that he'd get this week. I was nervous, or not even nervous. I expected it. I expected it to just be nothing this week based on performance. One thing that we talked about last night, though, I was wondering, have they caught up to where we're going week to week, or did they still have some room to grow for where his season numbers to date are? I think now we're caught up, meaning now each week is what plays a role in whether or not he gets there. So one hot week and Adames is going to go gold. He's one of my biggest hold for golds right now. I think I have like 35 shares, which is a very big investment for me. Miguel Rojas, I put him on the list. Actually, I made him a gold. I went 76 to 80. I thought he deserved more love than this. I think this is a little bit short shrift for what he's done this year with his batting average, but he did get 1 point. He is very much still on the hold for gold track. If he continues to hit the way he's been, this is another guy, by the way, who's widely available in fantasy leagues and has that great batting average. I wouldn't put him as high as Adames or anything. I would actually put him rather low now because if they weren't going to go gold, I thought he would at least get to 78, 79. And I know it's, we're talking a point or two. But what this tells me is that this was the catch-up. This was to get him even, and now again we're going week to week. So I thought it'd be a bigger boost to get even and maybe even all the way to gold. And so now it puts a big burden on him because he's already hitting 348. Like, how much better can he do? But he's hitting 500 against lefties, and I know it comes with a 500 BABIP, which is freaking insane. But I thought that would merit more than an 82. So maybe there's a little bit more to be gained next week. We'll see. Keep your shares if you got him because he was so cheap. I bought all mine for like $1.50. So I'm just gonna sit tight with him. But I understand if you want to divest. Like, it's one of those personal preference calls. He's not so strong of a gold case that you have to hold. He's more of a you choose your own adventure, because actually the prices, if you got in when I first started talking about him in the low or in the high 100s, low 200s, I think he's up in the threes now. Well, depending on how his price went today, but you might even be able to sell now and gain a little bit of stubs and just move on. Galvis goes down. Sorry, Scuff. You got the Teoscar Diamond, but your boy Galvis, it doesn't matter. He could go to bronze, and Scuffy would still use him and still absolutely dominate with him. Marwanito goes down to bronze. This makes him a little bit more BR viable, to be quite honest, though. Nice little bench bat that you can put. He has diamond defense, and he plays everywhere except catcher. Jairo Munoz gets a little love there. He's been hitting pretty well in 21 at-bats for Boston. Willie Castro's come up. He's killing it for the Tigers. I believe we got him from Cleveland. He's been awesome, and he's found regular playing time because Nico Goodrum's out. There's definitely a silver potential here. It's safe for silver for Willie Castro without a doubt. Eric Gonzalez gets nooched. Andres Jimenez gets a healthy little jump there in his contact numbers. There's an outside silver potential here. He's hitting very well. He is a big-time prospect. He does have that Future Stars card. I wouldn't go crazy or anything, but there is a potential, even being 6 points away, that if he continues to hit as well as he has been the last couple weeks, that he could go all the way up. Vance Vizcayno is the new left fielder. Otherwise, we got Marcelo Zuna going diamond. His verse lefty numbers are off the charts there, as you can see, and this is well deserved. He's had an excellent season. Eddie Rosario goes down a tick. Nicholas Castellanos goes down 2. Man, he has been struggling. Remember, he hit diamond early, and it's just been a steady downward trend since then, unfortunately. He's down to 237 on the season. Joey Gallo, I don't know how he's still holding on to gold. I think it's actually, I know exactly how. It's the defense. And the overwhelming power, of course, too. But it's really the defense, because this is a silver profile for hitting, for sure. Well, maybe not for sure. Again, that power is pretty devastating. it's probably still fringe gold. But either way, if he didn't have such amazing defense, he'd be a 78, 79, which would make him such a BR god. He still is a BR god, though, even as a gold. Michael Brantley is killing it, back to doing Michael Brantley things. He's got a boatload of doubles, base hits galore. He goes to gold. Adam Duvall, I mean, 1 3-homer game wasn't enough. He had to hit him with another. You know he had to go gold based off of that. The market was pretty keen on this. There really wasn't much investment to be had. After the first 3-homer game, I think you could have gotten in. But once the second one hit, he was trending in the 800 plus range. You weren't going to be able to buy in for much. Although I will say sometimes, and it's up to you. It's really what you can stomach. But as far as like the potential risk, because sometimes maybe, you know, he could have gone to 79. Like, it wouldn't have been crazy. He's only hitting 272, but the power had to go way up. But sometimes when it's that locked of a gold, I know some people will still buy in at 800. They'll take their guaranteed 200 stubs and just run with it. That's really up to you. Me, if I'm not in before like 600 on somebody, and even at 600, it has to be a pretty strong chance. But if I'm not in before that, I just say, hey, good luck to everybody else. I'm not going to be in on this one. Clint Frazier gets some love. He's definitely got silver potential if he continues to hit well. J-Up gets a little boost. That's it for left fielders. Fish Boy gets nooched. What's this guy got to do? What's this guy got to do to go to 105? He should be a 105. Oh, this was a tough nooch right here, man. I got to be honest. I thought he was going to go 90 plus. I have a rogue extra Acuna that I just pulled from a random pack that I never sold. And I was like, I was going to sell it yesterday. I was like, nah, I got to see if he goes 90 plus just to see if he moves up. But the vision and verse lefty numbers hurt. So the discipline in power versus righty wasn't enough to move him to 90. I mentioned this earlier. Marte does get the hit. He went on the IL with wrist inflammation. And this strikes me, and this is speculation on my part based on how everything's played out. This strikes me as something that's been bothering him for an extended period of time, but it was playable while they were kind of still in the hunt. But now that they're fully out of it, put me on the IL. I'll get right. We'll be back for 2021. Because there is no like, this is when he got a wrist injury type of game. There's nothing like that. And considering how much his power has been sapped, it's really easy to craft the narrative that the wrist has been an issue all year. Now, sometimes we're just trying to fit pieces in to tell a story, and you got to be careful with that. But also sometimes the obvious answer is absolutely the right one, and that's what I'm thinking right now as it stands with Ketel Marte. Robert goes up big on the defense there. They hinted at this on the MLB The Show Twitter, had people thinking that, you know, they said something about this is a diamond play when he made a great defensive play. I don't know if his defensive profile is now diamond because of this, but as you can see, he lost in the contact there, so he only gets +1. It's going to be hard for his live series card to get to diamond unless he finishes on fire offensively. Manuel Margot has been quietly a base stealing god for folks that picked him up off the fantasy wire. He gets a healthy jump here for a lot of his metrics, although his contact versus left and power versus right do take a hit. Everything else gets a nice little boost there. Frankly, I think his stealing should have gone up to reflect what he's really been best at this year, which is base running. JB Jizzle, every year, like clockwork, there's going to be an elite Jackie Bradley Jr. run. Like, it's unbelievable. He's going to hit like one of the best players in baseball for a 2, 3, sometimes 6, 7 week span. This year the clock might run out on him, but he's in the midst of one of those runs right now. Looking since August 14th, he's at an 895 OPS with 5 homers, 14 ribbies, which would pace out to a full season of 36 homers and 99 ribbies. Again, every year he does it, and he just goes off for an extended period of time. And right now we're in the midst of that, so he bumps back up to silver. And I love Jackie Bradley. His live series card has always played well for me. Plus that amazing defense, he's a BR god as far as I'm concerned. And being a silver doesn't change that. I'll still draft him. Eaton goes down a little bit. Bader gets nooched. Randy Arozarena has been amazing. He's come up from the alternate site and hit the ground running. Holy smokes. They picked him up from St. Louis last year. Remember, he filmed inside the locker room, inside the clubhouse after a playoff game, and I think Mike Schilt was on film saying something, that you really wouldn't want out in public. And I got to be honest, I think that sealed his fate as far as being on that team. I think that's why he was able to be acquired via trade. It wasn't something that they came out and said, like, you're out because of this, but I absolutely think that played a role and ended up sealing the fate for Randy Arozarena to be traded. The Rays jumped in, said, we'll take him, and of course he's been awesome, because why wouldn't he be for the Rays? Marisnick goes up a bit. He's been quietly hitting quite well. Mark Canha jumps down. You look at that big contact. Now he's much more balanced. He's always been a reverse platoon guy, meaning he's much better against righties as a right-hander. But now he's super balanced, and his card smacks. This is actually a big, nice move for us in BR. He goes down to a bronze, so he's cheaper to get, and now he's more balanced. I'll take that swing. He plays a bunch of different positions. He doesn't play them well, but he's a great bench bat now for BR. Cedric Mullins gets a little love here from common to common. And Drew Waters, Connor Myers, and Connor Scott are the new center fielders. No new right fielders. We do have Mookie Betts going up yet again. What a weird season, though. We've seen this with so many guys, and maybe it's just that it's been a month and a half. But we have so many guys that have these extreme platoon splits. And you can see it here with Mookie. He's destroying righties, but lefties are absolutely owning his life. And that's weird. But hey, he continues to go up and up. 93 now. I love Mookie. Why didn't Harper go 90 plus when he had the opportunity? I mean, I say it like it's his fault. No, I am wondering, though, why he didn't get that upgrade. Like, there was a couple weeks ago where he could have definitely gone up and gone to like 90, 91 when he was killing it. Now he's kind of tailed back off, and he ends up going down. So I had a couple shares just hanging on to him. I'm going to get rid of those. No harm, no foul. Cody Ballinger continues to struggle. It's been a rough season for him. Much more affordable now, by the way. He'd been down to 20K. I think now he'll be in the like 10 to 12K range as he becomes more and more common as of a pull. I think he'll really plummet. So by now you should have been able to afford him, but he used to trend over 100K. He's super cheap now. Nelson Cruz gets the +1. We're so close. We're so close. Here's the problem, folks. We're getting close to being capped. And they can't finagle anything with the defense and speed. He's a DH, and he's slow as molasses. Like, it has to come via the offense. If you want to track this, if you're invested in him, which I am, it has to be contact versus righty at this point. And that's what we need to see. He needs to collect base hits against righties. That's the only thing that's going to get him to diamond. Unless he just stops striking out the rest of the year. But I just don't see. I mean, he strikes out 25% of the time, which is not even a bad strikeout rate for a slugger like this. So I know there's some movement in vision, but don't focus on that. Contact versus righty, that's our real chance at diamond. I'm just going to hold my shares. I think I only have like 8 to 10 left. But that's what I'm going to go. I'm going to just stick with him. And then Michael Conforto goes up. He has a diamond potential. He's absolutely destroying the ball right now. He's 2 points away at this juncture. If he finishes strong the last couple weeks, he's got a great shot to go diamond. I think he was on Rory's list of guys to watch too. So they've got to focus on him over there at SDS as well. Will Myers goes up. He's having a great season. Good for him. Doing really, really well there with the Slam Diego Padres. Austin Meadows comes down even more. He's had an abysmal season. I think he had COVID, right? That's what delayed the start to his season. I wonder if he's been dealing with something to the degree of Moncada where it's been a bad one. I think he did. If he didn't, then obviously I'm wrong because it's not true. But I think he was on the COVID IL, in which case I wonder if there's a carryover effect there. Mazzara goes way down. There's no power. I'm off Mazzara forever. I'm so pissed too. I'd been on the Mazara train year in and year out with Texas, thinking he's going to build on it. He's going to build on it. Always kind of did something to keep me interested. And I was out this year. I was out. And then like because of the quarantine and the extended season, I had to come up with articles. And in one of my like last late bloomer articles, I was like, yeah, I'm still going to maybe get a share or two of Mazara. Thankfully, I actually didn't, but I still wrote him up as somebody to keep an eye on. So I'm still taking an L there, and it pisses me off. But I'm out 100% now. Now it's 100% wait and see. I never fully quit a guy where I would never draft them even in the face of change. But it's to the point where he has to do something now. If Mazara came out and was killing it and had a swing change and this, that, and the other, okay, I could buy back in. But I will not buy in blind, meaning I will not draft him anymore until we see those changes. And then DJ Stewart gets a little love. So that's it. That's the roster update for Week 7. Sorry for the little internet hiccup there. Got to figure out a way to splice the two videos together. Lots of great moves here. Hopefully you guys took advantage of the pack sale. There were so many stubs to be gained because so many of the golds hit and really paid big dividends. Hopefully you were in on the Seth Lugo jump because that one was one that absolutely was ready to pay off and finally did. Hendricks was a long-term guy. Goldschmidt was a long-term guy, so there wasn't really much wiggle room for them this week. But there were so many stubs to be gained. We still have a couple more roster updates, guys, so don't slack up just yet. We still have a lot of content that's going to be coming that you're going to want to be able to pay for, and you're going to be able to do it if you invest wisely. So stay tuned to the YouTube channel. Come out to Twitch, twitch.tv/Spore. If you subscribe on Twitch, you will get my full list every week. Otherwise, if you can't, I understand. You can still get information here on YouTube as well as on Twitch because I do talk about guys regularly here and there. I just don't give the full list. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Hit a like, hit a subscribe. Back next week. Thanks.